The Armed Forces Bowl is a battle between two very disappointing teams. Baylor at 6-6 takes on Air Force at 9-3. And while the matchup certainly is intriguing, you look at the preseason expectations for both the Bears and the Falcons and you say, what happened? Baylor was the reigning Big 12 champion. Many thought they'd be able to repeat this season, maybe flirt with the college football playoff, and yet here they come as a 6-6 team. Air Force ended the season favored in every single game. Based on preseason expectations, they were favored in every single game, but they were just 4-2 midway through the season, ultimately losing to Wyoming, Utah State, and Boise State. So now the question is, in a year where both teams were wildly disappointing, who will somewhat salvage their year with a bowl victory? That is what we are here to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to break down everything you need to know for the Armed Forces Bowl between Baylor and Air Force. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We have our holiday special over there, guys, giving you all of our bowl game spread picks and all of our NFL playoff spread picks for just $29.99. Yes, that's it. $29.99. You get all of those picks combined into one package. Go check it out. The link down in the description below. Become a part of our GE Nation and start winning with us today, because we guarantee you will win with that package. So let's take a look at this game, guys. I mean, again, Baylor 6-6, Air Force 9-3, neither living up to expectations. Motivation certainly could be at play here, but hopefully not. We hope both teams are motivated to win, not lacking the motivation. You take a look at Baylor offensively. They've been pretty dang good. They were phenomenal last year, extremely balanced, and they've done it again this year. 33.6 points per game, 235 passing yards per game, and 194 on the ground. I mean, you really can't get much more balanced than that. It's pretty dang solid. Blake Shapen's been very good at quarterback, over 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. 10 interceptions is a number that Dave Aranda would certainly like to see cut down, but overall, in his first year as starter, a solid debut with the Bears. Monterey Baldwin has been his go-to target, 565 yards and 4 touchdowns on the year. And then you got Richard Reese at running back, who's rushed for 962 yards and 14 touchdowns. So, I mean, the ability to score in multiple ways is there. The talent and the speed is there, which I think is what a major reason why it was so surprising to see Baylor go 6-6. Now, a key stat to look at in this game is the ground game. Baylor succeeded on the ground last year, a major reason for their success. They've succeeded on the ground this year. You look at Baylor, in half of their losses, in 3 of their 6 losses, they were held to under 115 rushing yards. In the other 3 games that they lost, they were held to 137 passing yards to BYU. They committed 2 turnovers against Oklahoma State and allowed a kickoff return for a touchdown, and committed 3 turnovers against West Virginia. So what is the key for Baylor? They have to get the ground game going. They have to dominate the trenches and get the running game going, and they have to take care of the football. They cannot beat themselves. You can't help but look back at some of those close losses for Baylor and say, what if? What if they had defeated BYU? What if they had defeated West Virginia? What if they had been able to beat Oklahoma State? You know, what the season could have been for the Bears had they been able to run the ball consistently and effectively and taking care of the football. Take a look at Air Force. We know they're going to run. There's no doubting that, right? I mean, Air Force, Army, Navy, they all run that triple option. People know it's coming, and yet they're very hard to stop. The Falcons guys are averaging 330.9 rushing yards per game. They average just 68 passing yards per game, but that's expected. It's not a shock. They're averaging nearly 28 points per game, and it all starts, their offensive success starts with Brad Roberts, and it feels like he's been at Air Force forever now. He's rushed for over 1,600 yards and 15 touchdowns on the year. John Lee Eldridge has also rushed for over 700 yards, and their quarterback, Hazik Daniels, has 614 yards and 7 touchdowns on the year. He's thrown for over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns, which when you look at Air Force, when you look at a team that runs triple option, 6 passing touchdowns and over 700 passing yards, it's pretty dang good for a team that rarely throws the football. Problem for Air Force is this, though. They've only scored over 24 points, more than 24 points once in their last 5 games. They lost 19-14 to Boise State. They beat Army 13-7. They beat Colorado State 24-12, and then beat San Diego State 13-3. So they're winning these games, they're playing well, but they're not really blowing teams out of the water, and they're not putting up a whole lot of points. They rely very heavily on their defense and obviously rely on dominating the time of possession, which is something that the Baylor defense is going to have to make sure they don't do. Baylor defense is going to have to go out there, force 3 and outs, and get the ball back into Blake Shapen's hands so they can take advantage of as many opportunities offensively as possible. You take a look at the Baylor defense, the key is simple: stop the run. Stop the run. Air Force is not going to beat you solely through the air. They might have a couple big chunk plays through the air. If they catch Baylor napping or stacking the box and creeping up, they could pull back, go deep. We've seen Army, Navy, Air Force, they do that from time to time. So I would not be surprised to see them do that in this game. But Baylor's only giving up 137.6 rushing yards per game. That's about 193 yard per game difference between what Air Force is averaging offensively and what Baylor's giving up. Now, obviously, the style of play that Baylor has faced from a running standpoint is very different than the triple option that Air Force runs and runs very effectively. But I do believe that Dave Aranda is going to find a way to shut that down. They've been pretty stingy against the run, and I think they can do it against a team that all they do is run. I believe Baylor can shut that down. The Bears have 24 sacks on the year. They only have 4 fumble recoveries, so there really aren't many opportunities creating pressure, breaking through the line, and forcing turnovers. But ultimately, what they have to do is they have to sell out on the run. They have to go, and hope that they can get a couple quick 3 and outs or very short drives from Air Force that don't take up that much clock and get the ball back into Blake Shapen's hands, because Baylor probably will have very limited offensive opportunities. And when they do have the ball, they have to make sure they get points on the board. Air Force defensively has been elite. They have been phenomenal defensively, only allowing 13.3 points per game, just 157 passing yards per game, only 99.8 rushing yards per game, so under 100 rushing yards per game. Both of those stats are a little bit concerning if you're Baylor. That's a stingy defense for Air Force. But you do have to look at the quality of opponents that Air Force has played. We do need to keep that in mind, too. They kind of skew the numbers just a little bit. And another thing you should look at, too, is Air Force has lost 3 games, as we mentioned. They've lost 3 games. In those 3 losses, Air Force was significantly outgained in all 3. Significantly. Well over 100, 150 yards in all 3 of those games. And in 2 of the 3 losses, Air Force was held to under 200 rushing yards. They also allowed at least 115 rushing yards in all 3 losses. Remember that number? Back on the offensive side, we said Baylor in 3 of their 6 losses were held to under 115 rushing yards. They allowed at least 115 in all 3 losses if you're Air Force. So if Baylor can really hit that 115 mark, if Baylor can get over 115 rushing yards on the day, I really like their chances to take down Air Force. Air Force has had a very solid season, 9-3, but the quality of teams they've played in the Mountain West is not nearly as good as that of Baylor. And if Baylor can sell out, hold Air Force to, I'd say, 220, hold them to less than 220 rushing yards while also rushing for over 115 of themselves, Baylor wins this game. And I'm going to tell you what, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're picking the Bears. We are picking Dave Aranda and the Bears. Dave Aranda, number 1, great defensive mind. He's going to find a way to shut down this triple option. He's going to have his team ready to come out, win this game, salvage the year, because bottom line is this: you have a chance to win a bowl game, you have a chance to end the year on a high, and really for Baylor, it's do you want to end the year with a losing record or a winning record? I would think they'd want to end with a winning record. They're going to find a way defensively to shut down Air Force, force a bunch of 3 and outs, while offensively establishing the run. As soon as Baylor gets over 115, turn it off. Baylor has clinched the win. Baylor gets the win over Air Force, sends Air Force to 9-4. The Bears finish a disappointing 7-6, but somewhat salvage the season, somewhat finish the year on a high as they get ready for a big 2023. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We've said it over and over and over again. Go check it out. The holiday special is right down there over on thegridironexpert.com. $29.99 gets you every bowl game spread pick and every NFL playoff spread pick. We want you to go sign up for those today. Take advantage of those, guys. Our gift to you this holiday season. Go check it out. The link down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.